What if you could capture the cozy glow of a campfire in a wreath? Stick around and I'll show you how. Okay, so for this wreath, I am going to be using poly burlap in red, orange, and yellow. I already have these cut in 10 by 10 pieces. I will show you with the yellow how I make the petal. I used a rotary cutter to cut these. So yeah, you can see all these frays. Don't worry about that. We shouldn't see any of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn it into a diamond shape. Bring the one corner down to meet the other. Okay. I'm going to kind of pull on this. Bring it down. And it should come down to, I don't know, maybe an inch below where this first corner is. Bring each side down. And kind of make sure they're good and even. And what I do at this point, I just kind of pinch this corner to this very top tip there. Kind of get that nice and pointy. And then I just use a clip of any kind. I'm using a clothespin. And I'm just going to clip that shut. And I'm going to leave that alone for now. And I'm just going to keep doing this with all of my mesh. That way I just have like an assembly line of how, of all these different petals done this way so far. Okay, just kind of take it to that point. Kind of take your clothespin, clip that shut, and we're done. Now, I am going to get out just an old piece of a box that I had, just because I'm going to be using hot glue and I don't want that hot glue getting on my cutting mat. So, I just have this old box here. Now, what I'm going to do, I got my hot glue gun. And I'm going to put just a strip of hot glue right here, kind of in the center. That one was actually a little longer than what we needed, and then I'm going to fold this in. Okay. Take my clip again, kind of clip that shut. And I'll just play with that tip. Just make sure it's good and together. Set that aside. Move on to the next one. And I'm going to try to make it not quite as long, just about maybe an inch. Fold this together. Clip that. Now, at this point too, if you wanted to, you can like bend it to one side or the other. Right now, I'm just going to keep them straight. And same thing with the orange. Again, kind of doing this as an assembly line. That way I could just have to have my hot glue gun on for so long. Okay, so I have these three. The hot glue is cooled down. Okay, you can see that's sealed shut. So to make the petal, I'm going to turn this back this way so that the side that we glued on, okay, that is going towards the back. Now I want to kind of get these together. I'm not too worried about them being perfect or anything like that. Just kind of make sure that they're not way too far out to the side. And then I'm I'm going to take this corner right here, roll it once towards the center, and roll it one more time. I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Roll it once toward the center and once again. And you can kind of see that's where the center is. And then squeeze that together. Take my zip tie, and I'm going to make sure these are about 5 inches long. Okay, and then you can kind of spread them out a little bit. Make sure that zip tie's on good. Okay, and there you go. I do see a little fray that was from behind sticking out there. Just take my scissors, kind of cut that off. We're probably really not even going to see that because all the other petals are going to go on top of it. Then I will just cut the excess zip tie off, and then I'll cut the excess of this mesh off. Okay. And there's our petal. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other two. I have an 8-inch work form that I got from Wreaths of Joy. It already has this this wire that's attached to the middle of it, so you don't need to use like the plastic canvas that I usually use on most of my other wreaths. So I really like this. It makes it so much easier. Okay, so but with the 8-inch we have 4 sections. Okay, if you get an 8-inch from the Dollar Tree, you're only going to have 3 sections, and it won't be lifted up like this. It'll be a little flatter. This, I think, will have a little more volume to it, so that's kind of why I wanted to go with this one. But what I'm going to do for the outside, I'm going to use this second ring from the outside, and I'm going to do 4 per section. Okay, and I'm just going to use 6-inch zip ties, and I'm going to put these in. With this, you kind of got to shove them in between. Okay, I'm going to put it through the zip tie, shove it down in. Okay, and then seal that shut. Okay, and then I'm again 4 per section. So always on these outside rings, when you use just one zip tie, you can see they're all tending to go in like that direction. Okay, so what I like to do to make sure they stand out straight. Okay, you can see I have the zip tie going this way. I'm going to crisscross it like this. Okay, and it gets it to stand out straight. And I'm going to do that with all of these. Okay, I will show you from the back how that looks. Okay, this is the one that I crisscrossed. And it just kind of helps it to stand out straight. So I'm going to do this with all of these on this outside, and then we're going to go with the second row in. Okay? Okay, so we got that first row done, and I already started putting zip ties in for our second row, which we are using the grid that comes on this wreath form. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm trying to go in between each one of these yellows. So I'm starting with, see where that crossbar is right there? I put a zip tie right where that crossbar is, and then skip this one, and I'm going in between this one. Don't worry, we're going to be putting zip ties in, the petals in there too, but we're going to go crossbar, halfway in between, crossbar, halfway in between, all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll put the petals in between those after I get these ones done first. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the zip ties in between each one of these. See, this way the second round of petals will kind of go over top these two. It'll be a lot easier that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the zip ties in, just right in between these. And maybe even like down just like one hole's worth from that outside ring. And make sure you go in, kind of skip a hole and then come out the other. Okay, so I just went ahead and put some zip ties in here. Okay, I'm going to put it kind of close. You can see right where this ends, that petal, that's kind of where I put this. So it's probably just about an inch from the last zip tie that I put in here. Okay, and I ended up putting 8. I'm thinking it'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this 6-inch wooden round. I didn't take the time to look to see if there was possibly any campfire style centers, the signs that I could use. So I'm just going to paint one. I'm not worried about it. Okay. So I'm just putting a couple drops of white in this because this yellow, I think, is just a little too yellow. I want to lighten it up a little bit. And I'm just going to use this to kind of stir it up, and I'm just going to slop that on. Okay, pretty simple. Got that done. I'm going to rinse my brush out, and to make sure it dries pretty quickly, I'm just going to take a little hair dryer. Yeah, I keep my travel size hair dryer down here just for this reason. It's good and dry, and I am so glad I put this down because I'm very sloppy. So now what I want to do, I just want to put hints of red kind of in the background, I guess. So I'm just going to use my red here. I'm going to use one of these brushes, like a little stencil brush. I'm going to barely dab some red on here, and I'm gonna just, I don't think I like that. I'm gonna do a different brush. I'll just use this. Yes, it's stained. Okay, yeah, we just got a little bit of this red through here just to make it a little fun. Okay, so that's like the background of what I want to paint on here. What I would like to use is this Life is Better by the Campfire. I made this in Canva, and I just want it because, listen, my lettering skills are not very good. So I just thought I will kind of trace this out. I have some tracing paper, and so I'm going to just trace this out and kind of go with that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I put the tracing paper down, and I kind of have this, I'm feeling around to make sure this is kind of where I think this should go. Okay, so now I'm just going to use a pencil, trace this out. All I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use a Sharpie to do the lettering, just because I tried painting, and painting letters does not work for me. So hopefully the Sharpie will work and we'll be okay with that. So okay, so I got this lettering basically done. I got time to fix it if I want to fix anything, but we got the gist of it. Okay, so now we're going to do this fire part. Yeah, you can see where that tracing paper kind of got onto here a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. So it's not going to be perfect. It's still going to work. Okay, so I want to put some brown. I'm going to use this brown for the logs. I want to make it both, I'm going to do some darker. I'm going to put in a little bit more over here so I can have some lighter brown. Just mix the white with that. Again, I'm going to take my hair dryer to this and get this to dry a little quicker. Okay, so now I'm going to try to do something with that fire. I'm going to do that red first. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to orange. Kind of get that to go. A little going into the inside. And I'm going to go over top of that red a little bit, just to, it'll give a little ombre look there. And now I do want this darker yellow for the center there. Okay, so this is all good and dry. Everything's good. What I want to do, I want to spray this with just something that is going to seal it and kind of keep it from, I don't want the rain to wash this paint away, of course. So I'm going to get that done. Okay, now also what I want to do, I have this, it's 18-inch wire. I got this one from Joann Fabrics when it was closing, but I will put a link to the Amazon where you can get the same thing. And what I did, I cut that in half. Now I'm going to kind of put that in half, but I'm going to make this kind of flat right there. And what I want to do, kind of, let's just right about here, I want to kind of make sure that is good and flat up against the wood. And I'm going to take some hot glue, put it on either side. That way that will secure this right now. And then after I do that, I'm going to put some E6000 on there, kind of right there in the center. That will ensure that this wire stays on really good. So what do you think? I think he turned out absolutely adorable. Now, I wanted to pass on some information about the sign. What I did when I used a Sharpie for the lettering, it bled. It bled whenever I sprayed it with the protective coating. So now I know, now you know, don't use a Sharpie. The best thing probably to use would be like a paint marker. So now we know. I didn't really want to use a paintbrush because it wouldn't turn out very well. I know me. So, but let me know what you think. I think this is adorable. I'm giving this to my friend. It's too late for the camping season, but I'm going to give it to her for Christmas. I think she's going to love it. It's perfect. It's 17 inches wide, so I think it's going to work out great. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Patty Davis, and I'm with Crooked Tree Creations, and I'll see you in our next video.